Hello everyone, this is Tom from Team Wrecking Ball and I'm bringing you kind of a different video today. As you can see here, I am right in the middle of deck construction for a competitive sealed league on Magic Online. It's my first sealed league ever. I've done quite a few constructed leagues, but no sealed yet, in part because I didn't really like the Oath of the Gatewatch format all that much when compared to Battle for Zendikar. But I'm really excited about Shadows over Innistrad. So what I want to be doing here is hopefully build a good sealed deck. And the cool thing about sealed leagues is that you get infinite time to construct your decks. So what I wanted to try to do was build a deck in this video, then pause the video, make a few different builds, compare all of those, go over them with you, the viewers, and then I'm going to put this on the website and I'm going to ask you for feedback, and then whatever deck turns out to be the consensus among the community, I will play, and I will then probably stream the league on Friday, or I will record excuse me, I will record a video of all of my league matches. Now, as you can see here on the left, I've actually already built quite a few decks, but I want to go over my normal building process first and what I first came up with. Say, for instance, I'm playing in a PPTQ and I don't have that much time for deck construction. I can't build like 20 different decks. So what I would be doing then. I usually actually tend to go over my colors individually first. I don't look at my rares first because I tend to prefer having a synergistic and deep deck rather than building around just my rares. But of course, they do play a role, and I see that I already have an Arlen Cord in here, so that's a very good reason to try and be red and green. But first we'll see how deep my colors are. Let's start with white. Chaplain's Blessing is unplayable, that's the life gain thingy. Stern Constable, I think you can only play if you really need Delirium and or Madness. So I'm gonna keep that in the sideboard for now. Strength of Arms is a fine trick. Thraben Inspector is good. Declaration in Stone, so I open some value here. We have Unruly Mob, which I think is fine, but you can't really see as a 2-drop, and you can only play them when you have a lot of creatures. Bound by Moonsilver, so that's our second very good removal spell. Bygone Bishop, great rare, can get you lots of value. Dauntless Cathar is also fine. Paranoid Parish Blade is very good when you have Delirium, mediocre if you don't. And 2 Apothecary Geists, which I like. I find that 2/3 flyer in this format is pretty good. And Inquisitor's Ox, which is pretty good, independent of whether or not you have Delirium. 2/5 for 4 is actually pretty good in this format, I found. So our white, let's say we don't necessarily play the Unruly Mobs. We have about 10 cards here, which are okay, and then maybe like 2 more that we can still play. So our white is relatively deep, but has 3 cards that really draw us into the color, and that's the Declaration in Stone and the Bound by Moonsilver, which are both excellent removal spells, and the Bygone Bishop. So that's our white. Let's sort it by color, put it here. Let's go over blue now. Jace's Scrutiny is not necessarily great, but you get a card out of it through the Investigate, so it's fine. I don't mind playing it. Just the Wind is good. Nagging Thoughts is playable, but I always see it as like a 23rd card, so I'm going to put those in the sideboard for now. Same for Press for Answers, which is basically the same kind of trick like Jace's Scrutiny, where you get to investigate and get the card back, but I think Jace's Scrutiny is better, so let's keep those in the sideboard for now. Vessel of Paramnesia is okay in if you really want to enable Delirium, but is nothing special otherwise. Pieces of the Puzzle is unplayable. except for in a really dedicated draft deck. It, for instance, Rise from the Tides. Reckless Scholar is great and a very good reason for us to go into blue, for instance. Drownyard Explorers is good. Corpse Trawler is good. Sleep Paralysis is good. Pore Over the Pages is another card that would draw me into blue. The Snapper, I think, is fine in a defensive deck and is actively, I wouldn't say great, but relatively good if you also have a lot of spells. And then Epiphany at the Drownyard, one of our rares. Also another decent to good card draw spell. So blue is very mediocre. We have Sleep Paralysis as well, removal spell. Blue is decent but quite mediocre. It's mostly the card draw, which I like in sealed, that would draw me into this color, but I'm not overly excited. In black we have Throttle, which is good. Gisa's Bidding is good. Stallion of Ashmouth is good if you have Delirium. Actually very good if you have Delirium. Not that great otherwise. Noble is passable. Revenant is passable. Alms of the Vein is not. Vessel of Malignity is okay and sealed, not that great. Pale Rider is a good 2-drop, especially if you have a few Cheat Madness cards. Grotesque Mutation is one of the better combat tricks in the format, I find. And Ghoul Caller's Accomplish is a decent 2-drop, but nothing special. And Sanatorium Skeleton is good if you have, for instance, Call the Bloodline or like several looters. Can be a very good card, but it depends on the synergies in your deck. So we can use almost all of our black cards, but none of them, I mean, you could say that maybe the Throttle, but none of them really draw me into black, so I'm really not excited about black here. Red looks to be very deep. We have 19 red cards, which is a lot. Let's go over them. Dual Shots is surprisingly good in this format, I found, so I would play this in the main deck. If I lacked playables, I probably would not play it otherwise, but I would be very happy to be able to side these in against, for instance, flyer decks who have a lot of 2-1s. Especially against black, I've found that these can be very good. Against white also. Then Rush of Adrenaline is an okay combat trick, nothing special, but it's fine. Village Messenger, let's talk about Village Messenger. This is the card I've talked to most people about at pre-releases and told them to get that thing out of their deck. Because, I mean, yes, this card is very good when you play it on turn 1 and it flips immediately and you have a 2/2 menace attacking on turn 2. That's great. Now imagine if you draw this on turn 4 or 5 and they have like even like a 2/3 blocker. This card is just actively bad at that point, because it will not be easy to flip it. And as a 1/1 with haste, it doesn't do really anything. So I really don't like this card unless you have like 2 neglected heirlooms or something. Then maybe it's fine, because menace and neglected heirloom and transform go very well together. But nope, we don't have any neglected heirlooms, so I will not be playing this. Kessig Forge Master, on the other hand, is a great 2-drop. Magmatic Chasm is playable, but it really depends on your deck, so at the moment I would leave it in the sideboard, could possibly side it in. Senseless Rage is fine, but I would only play it if I have a lot of madness, and probably not otherwise. Vessel of Volatility is unplayable. Blood Mad Vampire is fine. Killer is fine. Geist Blast is a removal spell. Ooh, I like this. So we have 2 Howlpack Wolves and a Breakneck Rider. Breakneck Rider is really good, and I also really like Howlpack Wolves. Those are actually pretty good cards. And we have Hulking Devil, which I don't like. This is the Cobble Brute from last set. Mad Prophet, though, is very good. Not as good as Reckless Scholar, which we had in blue, but it's very good. Looters are just great. Voldaren Duelist I like. Catstaff Arsonists is one of my favorite finishers in this format. and Incorrigible Youths will go very well with the Mad Prophets. So what strikes me as strange in red is that we have only one removal spell, and we have a few Madness cards, but only one Madness outlet in the Mad Prophets. So that's a little bit annoying, but still this color is very deep. We have 13 playables here, and like we said, we could possibly play the Chasm or the Dual Shots. So we have a lot of playables here, and it's starting to look like red might be one of my colors, especially because of the good 3-drops. And the top end of the curve is also very reasonable. So we could play that. Let's look at green. Confront the Unknown is one of my favorite combat tricks in this format. It pumps and gives you a clue for just 1 mana, which I really like. It's also instant speed. Loam Dryad I would not main deck unless I have a 3 or 4 color deck, so let's put that in the sideboard for now and then we'll see. Vessel of Nascency is perfectly fine and gets better if you want to have Delirium turn on. Aim High is another decent combat trick. You will notice that I quite like green in this format. I think it's the best color, followed by red, and then there's a pretty big gap for me when it comes to the other colors. But I could be wrong. That's my first impression after doing a few seals and like 7 drafts. So could definitely still change. Cold Wolf I really like. It's a 2-drop that scales really well, and the fact that it's a wolf is important in this format. Rabid Bite, a good removal spell. Gloom Widow I think is very good in an aggressive deck, so it goes well with the other 3 trees for 3 that we have here, but it doesn't block as well, and neither do these, so if we wind up combining these, then we'll have to watch out that we don't get overrun if we're not actually the ones attacking. Briarbridge Patrol, perfectly fine card. Thornhide Wolves also. And then we have Seasons Past, which is a huge bomb in sealed. Can basically draw you like between, probably like 3 is on the low end, but probably more like 4 or 5 cards. Can also draw you a land, so this is really great. And I forgot a Hermit of the Nether Knolls, which I think is fine, but I have the feeling that people overrate this card. I mean, yes, it's a 2-3 that flips into a 3-5, and it makes the plays of your opponent a little bit more narrow, because they can only play cards in their own turn unless they let you draw cards, and it's of course an advantage to you, but I don't know, I haven't been that impressed with this card, so I would definitely play it. It's very playable, but it's not a bomb or anything like some people seem to think it is. We have, in multicolor, we have Fevered Visions. I have no idea if this card is good. I've heard all kinds of opinions. If you have already played with this card, please let me know in the comments whether or not you liked it. One of the cool things is that this triggers at the beginning of the end step instead of beginning of the upkeep. So you're actually the first player that draws a card, so that's good. But on the other hand, you also don't get to play it at the beginning of your end step, right? So yeah, I think this card is good if you're very aggressive and your opponent isn't. Then it's basically just like Sulfuric Vortex or something, and Sulfuric Vortex is a really, really good card. Yeah, I'm not sure about this card. I have no idea whether or not it's main deckable or not. And then we have Arlen Court, which is the best card in our pool, alongside Seasons Past. Yeah, I mean, what do I have to say? This is an insane Planeswalker. It makes guys, then throws lightning bolts at stuff. Yeah, this card is very, very good. So I'm going to try and play it if I can. And look at the lands. We have Foreboding Ruins, Forsaken Sanctuary, and Highland Lake. Fortunately, we have no green fixing, which is a little bit annoying if we would want to splash Arlen Cord. And then our artifacts, we have Epitaph Golem, which I don't think is that playable in sealed. I mean, if you need a blocker, it's fine, but we don't have many flyers, so I don't think it'll be good in our deck. Murderous Axe, if we want to have a Madness outlet. I don't really like it outside of the Madness decks. And how many Madness cards did we have? We had Sanitarium Skeleton, which would work well with it. Isa's Bidding, Bloodmad Vampire, Senseless Rage, and Incorrigible Use. Yeah, that's not that much, so I don't think we'll be playing Murderous Axe. And we have 3 True Fate Sensors. So this is the equipment that gives +1, +0, and Vigilance, and if it's a human, gives +2, +1, and Vigilance. I haven't played this card much, but I've heard several people telling me that they quite like the card, so maybe this is a good opportunity to try it out. Again, let me know in the comments whether or not you like it, how many humans I need to have to play this. It seems playable without having many humans, but it's also not great. I think I would like this most to put on like a flyer and create, like, if I put this on one of my Apothecary Geists and create a 3/5 flyer with Vigilance, that seems pretty good. Could also be very decent on like one of the 3 trees if they get to block. Or like on a Gatstaff Arsonist, Menace, and Vigilance. Seems good. Okay, so what do I take away from this pool in general is that I have my best removal is in white, where I have 2 very good removal spells. White is also the only color where I have flyers, which is important in sealed, but it's still only 3 flyers and no big flyers. Blue is the color where all of my card advantage is situated, where I have the Scholar, Pour Over the Pages, and Epiphany. But the creatures are very bad in blue. Black, I think I will not be playing because it just doesn't offer very much. Yeah, I mean, there's no card here that really draws me into black, so I think I'm just not playing black. I could splash the Trouble, so let's keep that in mind. I have 2 black producing dual lands, so maybe we can splash a Trouble somewhere. Especially because I don't have that much removal, that could be interesting. So in red we have the 1 Geist Blast as removal, but red definitely has our best creatures. I mean, we have like 9 to 10 very decent creatures here in the Forge Master, all the Wolves, the Mad Prophet, the Duelists, Arsonists, and Incorrigible Youths. So I think this is by far our deepest color, and it's probably going to be our main color. Also, we have, of course, the Arlen Cord in these colors. And then in green, I mean, I'm not blown away by green, but it's decent. I have a few tricks. I have 1 removal spell. Oh, nope, keep that in here. And the Season's Pass, which I think is a major draw alongside the Arlen Cord. And the creatures are decent even if they are not great. So yeah, if this were my pool at a PPTQ and I didn't have infinite time, I would probably start by cutting the blue, sorry, because it's just has the least cards that really draw me towards it, and I think these are my 3 best colors. Now, the annoying thing is that my mana fixing doesn't really fit well here, because I have I'm probably not playing black, and I have 2 black duels, and then I have a red-blue duel, and I'm probably also not playing blue. So my mana fixing, if I want to go 3 colors here, or 2 colors and a splash, is going to be really bad. So the first thing I would try, I think, is to combine these 3 um, these three colors and pair them up. Like try white red, try red green, try white green, and see how that looks. So let's start with that. Let's put the multicolored cards in the sideboard for now. Yeah. And the throttle as well. And let's start by combining, for instance, white and creatures separately. Okay, so this gives us 23 cards, which is ideal. We're lacking a top end of our curve except for the seasons past here. But what does this give us? This gives us 3 good removal spells and like 3 decent tricks. The curve is not particularly great because I don't have many good 2-drops. And the overall power level of my creatures is very low here. That does get a little bit better once you start factoring in that two-phase sensor is good in this deck, because it's good on the flyers, it's also good on all the humans, of which I have quite a few. Not really many, but like 6. So that could be fine. We could also easily like put in this dual land and add in a throttle, for instance, and then play like one more swamp, got a true phase sensor. Yeah, so this is one deck I would consider. It looks very reliable, but very low in power level in general. What I could also try in white-green is to splash the Arlen Chord instead of the throttle. The problem here would be that to play the Arlen Chord, I would feel like I need probably 3 mountains, which leaves me with a 7/7/3 mana base, and that's not great. The only thing I do have going for me in with this kind of deck and that kind of mana base is that I do have only single colored mana costs except for the seasons past, so that does help things quite a bit. Okay, interesting enough. Let's sort by color again and remove the green cards, and let's see what red-white looks like. I'm going to leave the senseless rage in the sideboard because red-white is usually not a madness combination, and like we already said, we don't have many madness outlets in red. Okay, so this is 23 cards also. Again, the same problem, we have very few 2-drops, which I really don't like. And we have a glut of 3-drops, like way too many. This guy's blast should be down here. We also have less tricks. See, for instance, I'm not very keen on having the Blood Mad Vampire in here. It doesn't seem great without the madness. Paranoid Parish Blade, I will not have Delirium in this deck, so it will be a little bit worse. I am playing a lot of creatures in this deck, so that would allow me to possibly play like a second Unruly Mob and cut something like, for instance, I guess the Blood Mad Vampire. So that could turn out to be something like this. Then if I would start looking at splashing, what is interesting here is that I have a Foreboding Ruins and a Forsaken Sanctuary, which makes splashing Throttle basically free. So that's interesting. And then So that's one possibility. And I could even add in Arlen Cord, cut like a Parish Blade, and then I would probably also play the Island Lake just to be able to trigger the ability of the Geist Blast. I mean, it's just free, it's a dual land. Okay, it comes into play tapped, but we don't have an early curve anyway, so that doesn't matter that much. Although it's worse if you draw it late, of course. Now, if I wanted to add like 3 forests here, then we'd already have... so this would look something like... I think I would need at least 8 red sources and at least 7... yeah, and then 3 forests. This is 15. Yeah, this is 18 lands, so this gives me 7 white sources, 8 red sources, 2 black sources, and 3 green sources. This deck has most of my powerful cards except for the Seasons Past. It has all the removal, it has Arlen Cord, and it has the best creatures because I have all the 3-drops here. I have the Bygone Bishop and the Apothecary Guides. This, and I have too many cards. Okay, so I would still have to cut like 2 more cards, so I'm guessing that would be an Unruly Mob and probably the True Faith Sensor, because the creatures in this deck are already... I do like it with the flyers though, so maybe like Strengthened Arms. So yeah, this is another possibility. I'll let you check it out. Funky mana base, but I think Arlen might be worth splashing for, though I really don't like having only 7 planes in this deck, so it's not the best, not the best. Okay, let's put the red and green cards together. I'm going to cheat here and just go to my red-green deck that I've already put together, and this is what red-green looks like. Group them separately. So this is just very, very basic. I'm not splashing for anything here. I have a decent curve, but I have no flyers, no really big things to push through with except for the Arsonists, I guess. And we have a few tricks, a little bit of removal. I put in the Magmatic Chasm because I don't have many things to get through in this deck, and I think I like it in that kind of a situation. But we do have a very stable mana base here. We have 9 red sources and 8 green sources, which is a good mana base. I'm pretty sure if I were playing a PPTQ, I would probably play this deck because it's just the most consistent. I'm not going to lose to my mana. Now, if I wanted to experiment a little bit, I would probably try to maybe add in like the 2 really good removal spells in white. These 2, yes. And where would that leave me? I would be able to cut like a 3-drop and probably one of the combat tricks, and then make my mana a lot worse by adding 3 planes and cutting back on the mountains and forest. That would again put me in a configuration where I have roughly 7/7/3, and I don't like that very much. What I could do here is add the Foreboding Ruins instead of a mountain, and then add 1 swamp, probably instead of another mountain, and then add the Throttle that we had somewhere. Where is it? Yes. This would give me another extra 5-drop target for Seasons Past, which is interesting, and would not mess up my mana base too much. I would have 8/8/2 in this case, which is fine. So I could definitely also see playing this. Okay, now over to my final build that I wanted to go over is this one. I put this one together really late in the process of going over different tools for you guys. But I quite like this one too. Even though it obviously has quite a lot less power than, for instance, the pools with green in it, because I don't have Seasons Past, I don't have Arling Court, I don't have the Rabid Bite. But what I do like is that my mana base, I can play all the dual lands in this version. So I'm playing blue, red, splashing for the 2 white removal spells and the 1 black removal spell. The black splash is just free because I have the 2 dual lands. And what I really like about this version of the deck is that I have both of my looters and Pour Over the Pages and Epiphany at the Drown Yard, all of which will make my mana a lot more fluid and will probably add to the consistency of my deck. I also have quite a few removal spells in this version. 6, I guess 5, and then Just the Wind is more or less a removal spell. And I have a few more Madness synergies than I do in the other decks because I have the 2 looters. So yeah, power level of this deck is probably too low, but I think if I wanted to play just based on my style, the kind of way I like to play, I would probably play this just for fun, but I think it's a little bit lacking in power level. Yeah, so I think I went over all of the decks I'm considering, and now it's up to you. What do you think? What do you want me to play? What do you think is the best deck? I will try and post pictures of the decks as well, so you can go browse through them easily. And I'm also looking for answers to the questions regarding Fevered Visions. Is it good? Is it not good? I have no idea. And how do you like True Faith Sensor? Is it good? Can you play it without humans? Or is it just good in general? And then one more question. If you were to splash the Arlen Cord, would you want 2 sources or 3 sources? That's also an interesting one to me. Okay, I guess that's it. I'll see what you come up with, and then on probably Friday I will either stream or record a video series with the deck everyone has picked out for me. We'll see you then. Bye.